for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 22 coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Red Zone Coins. Use code VENM at checkout for 10% off. Yo, what's up guys, VENM Fire here, back with a video, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys my gun bunch tight end offense. Bunch tight end is still one of the best offenses in the game. You can really build around, honestly, one of the better plays in the entire game. It is still a very, very good scheme, so I'm going to show you guys how I run it. We're going to go back to the practice mode for this video for a couple of reasons. One, I just want to go over all the setups. A lot of you guys say it's difficult for me to, or at least understand all of the setups when I'm in a gameplay. I can understand that. In the future, we might try out a strategy that was commented where I maybe am able to go over the setups, then I show some highlights from games. Obviously, it won't be like full commentary games that are 15 minutes, but talk about the plays. Again, I can't go over all the plays because then it's like a 15-minute practice mode, and then we still have part of a gameplay, but if it can be around 20 minutes, that's around the sweet spot of how I would want to do it. That might be something we try out for defense and offense. I feel like that could be something cool, but for now, we're rocking with just the practice mode for this particular video. Bunch tight end, probably the two best playbooks for it are either Raiders or Seahawks. I do think Seattle is probably a little bit better. We are in Raiders right now. Again, both those playbooks are the exact same. If you want a little bit of a different bunch tight end, you can go to Kansas City. But before we get into the video, I also want to remind you guys to go ahead, hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 17,000 subscribers, and depending on when you're watching this video, we're on the road to our next subscriber milestone. But yeah, overall bunch tight end, we're going to go over a variant of different plays, probably just these main plays in our audibles. There's also a couple of plays like stick, that is solid, and X spot, which who knows, maybe we go over. I am using the Bills, Josh Allen, probably one of the best, if not the best quarterback in regs right now. You got escape artist and you have gunslinger, so him and Kyler. But of course, Allen has more throw power. So we'll be using him, and overall, yeah, let's just jump straight into it. Alright guys, here we are out on the field. Now, if you're wondering if I might sound a little bit weird, not sure how it sounds on the mic, my throat is kind of hurting me a little bit, might be getting sick, so I'm definitely going to pre-record some videos just in case that happens today before my throat is probably completely gone, but that's besides the point. And that's also a reason I'm not doing gameplay, because it's a lot more yelling, screaming, high, just changing of my voice tone. But practice mode, we're going to start out with the best play, which is PA boot over. We will by far be talking about this the most. This is the play you want to build around, and you can honestly hot route around this play for an entire game and probably pick up a win. So just running it stock, probably the best way to run it stock is to put A on a delay fade. Now, man coverage, I know people say that the delay fade is not as good anymore because it was patched, which is 100% true, but when nobody's really running man coverage, which you won't face unless someone's like running a Sen 6 or Sen 7, man coverage is not really that good unless you're setting pressure with it, then this play is still very good. So if I just run this little delay fade, we roll out, I can still release it, and it is still, you know, a very, very solid play. We pick up 20 yards just there alone. So certainly delay fade is something we will be utilizing. Again, if it is man coverage, that does neutralize it a bit, but overall it is still pretty solid. So I'll just show it again, go through the reads. This is also a very good play because of the quick snap factor. You can go on the field, put A on a delay fade, which will not trigger a hot route animation from your quarterback, meaning that you can still put him on that delay fade, go to the line, just spam A. The play action, again, it's cool, you can keep it. But overall, just so many different things you could do. You got the crosser, you got the deeper post, you have the drag. Now, obviously, you see the way we are positioned right here on the right side. I've actually seen some people, and I've actually tried this out myself, where maybe you run it on this side, the short side of the field technically, but you could actually run it this way if you want a little bit more space for not only your drag, but also your crosser. You see, you can kind of roll out, have a lot more space, and it also creates more space potentially for your deep post, so that's something you could do. I'm not going to show it in this video, but I did want to mention it briefly. Now let's kind of piggyback off that, going off different things that you could do. Now this drag route, it's not a traditional drag route with digs. It's almost like a little bit in between a drag and a slant. You could throw B on the traditional slant if you want. Now, of course, you're going to have to make a hot route for that, but he does get a little bit shorter, and now you see it's actually a throwable ball, whereas before in this particular coverage we are in, which is like just a cover 3 drop everybody type defense with a spy and things like that. This drag actually gets open, whereas previously you saw I was getting locked on by either a spy or that curl flat. Now it looks like the curl flat does absolutely nothing, especially because those zones tend to play a little bit further inside. This will certainly benefit you, and I feel like it's an adjustment that you're going to want to do. Now going into our next way to do it, or our next adjustment, what you want to do now is utilize this running back. Now if you're sending pressure, you can block 6, you can block 7. We'll show setups with that, but with RB, my favorite route is going to be this little, it's going to be called the out left. So it's going to be an out left. If you're a backfield master, you can throw them on things like angle routes, of course, but we don't have that. So we're just going to throw them on this route. You see, very, very solid. No one even close. The posts, deep posts, do a really good job this year of pulling up both the outside thirds, of course, and the curl flat zones, or whatever zone they are in. So again, here's a look at the setup. You're still blocking 6, you're just sending your running back out, and there's not really too many reasons to block 7 this year. You see, you can either throw it early, you can wait a little bit, depending on the running back, you can get a little bit glitchy in the open field, make a guy miss, although that's not the easiest thing to do this year. Again, you can snap the ball pretty quickly as long as you don't put B on a drag. If you do, it's going to maybe slow you down a bit, but not the biggest issue on the planet, I would say. And overall, this is probably just the most efficient way to run it without having to use motion at all. You can still roll out and throw it like across the body. It's not that difficult to do. We still have a lot of space to possession catch, rack catch, and do pretty much everything with that. And of course, you can still roll out, release that A guy. Sometimes you can hit X. It's really a risky throw. You see, it's just difficult to make. So usually the crosser is going to be your best friend. That's going to kind of tie us into actually our next setup. So what we're going to do here is we're pretty much going to go with the max protect type setup, and max protect will include the delay fade. So what I like to do is throw X on a slant, B on a drag, something like this. You're going to motion Emmanuel Sanders from left to right. This is just a basic route combination. A lot of drags, puts a lot of stress on the user, which is what you want to do this year, especially if people are double mabling. They're leaving the middle of the field just to themselves. That's going to be, the best thing to ever happen to you if your opponent's playing defense like that. Especially with this, a lot of crossing routes will put a lot of stress on the user. He's thinking about a couple of different things. He has slants, he has crossers, and he almost might have to defend that crosser because it gets so deep. If he's playing like a 20-yard curl flat, he's going to have to defend it. Even there, you see the curl flat in decent position, but we're still able to fit it in. Just bad stick work on the reception. So, show this one more time. Of course, with this setup, you probably will just want to leave your running back on his play action. But again, motion, you want to snap him relatively quickly because of how the motion snaps are. But you see, you can still roll out as a last resort and throw that delay fade. Now, because we're playing like a heavy drop coverage, there's a lot of foot curl zones. It's not as effective as seen in this particular situation in practice mode, but when people are double mabling, leaving the middle of the field, it's an easy read between either drag, crosser, or slant. Here's another look at a setup that I like to go to. X on a curl, B on a flat, or B on an option. With this, I like to motion out Sanders, and I'll show an alternative to do this as well, but you just want to motion him out like a baby step, snap it there. This way, he gets in the best spot for that curl. Sometimes when you leave him in that stock position, little hook curls or vertical hooks can lurk it pretty easily. So what you want to go ahead and do is motion him either out a step, or the alternative would be to actually put Diggs on the curl route, put Sanders on the flat, then you can actually motion Diggs outside like this. Now he gets a little bit further outside, so if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. You see how it almost seems like he was in a better position to defend it? That's because he, of course, was. So depending on the situation, it most likely doesn't have an effect, but you saw it kind of had an effect there, so that's something you want to do. Curls are pretty good against man coverage. Zones or defensive players don't really react that well in general to low balls or things like that. In a man coverage sense, in zone coverage, they can be decent at times, but in man coverage, they won't really react that often. You have a little option, you can sit here, but again, the curl route's your route. You really just want to distract the user. You can usually distract him with that crosser. If he does happen to sit on the curl route, then you can hit that crosser completely over the top. If you want a quick snap option, you can go with something like this. Also, what I could do is throw RB on an out to the right, or a flat if I have backfield master. So you give yourself some good options. Again, I can still roll out, hit this crosser pretty easily, so certainly you have a lot of options with this particular setup. I'll just throw in one more baby kind of setup here, and it's going to be just something like this, where we leave the deep post, but we still have a backside slant. Diggs on the slant, RB on a little out to the right. Something like this, just basic setup. Again, it's going to stretch the field, stretch the user. Right here, we're able to hit that backside slant. You still have your delay fade. Decent setup there. All right, let's actually hop into some other plays, because we did talk about that play the most, which is something that I totally said. I warned you guys that this is the play you're almost going to build your entire offense around. The crosser, super good to have, especially when people don't really have an idea. There's not really a meta. One of the better plays in the game. So let's go to inside zone. I do like this inside zone a lot. I've always liked this inside zone. You see, look at Stephon Diggs pancaking linebackers. And of course, because I'm in like this dollar formation, they will get pancaked, but it's a good run against any formation. Big nickel over G, 3-3-5 wide. They're all very good. My favorite way to run it has usually been to motion this inside guy out and then snap it. It allows you to cut it back to the outside a lot better. Against dollar, of course, it's heavy on the outside, so that's not going to be the case, but it's a very good inside zone. Bunch tight end is a pass-heavy formation, but you want to run the inside zone. Depending on how often you run the ball or pass the ball, probably close to 10 times a game if you can. That would be the number I would target if I was running bunch tight end. See if I can run it 10 times a game. If not, you want to run it probably around 5 to 10 would be a good mark. There you see the crazy stick work. But again, we're in dollar, so you can't even count it. But again, it's a solid run. If you want to confuse him, easy way to do that is with motion. Again, if it's man coverage, it'll also help you out in running to the left, although it might not make a difference, but there you see it opens an avenue to potentially cut it back as well. So overall, I'm not going to talk about the inside zone for too long. Again, pass heavy formation. We're going to focus in on the inside switch next though. All right, the next play is going to be inside switch. Now, inside switch is a lot worse on next gen than it was current gen. Pretty much as far as Madden 21 current gen goes, because one of the biggest reasons this play was good was because you could smart out this corner out and it would be very solid against man coverage. It's not the case. If you smart out it is in the same exact spot. So my best thing to do with it would either be, block it if you want to, or you can streak it. Against this particular scheme, we'll start out with blocking. What you want to do with B is throw him on like a backside slant. This would probably just be my first setup. Pretty simple stuff. Slant, flat, backside post, table route. So you certainly have options, as shouldn't have lowballed that, but you see how you can kind of throw the post over him. But overall, this is a very good man coverage beater. You can also smart out X, which is probably what I was thinking I had. You can smart out X, get him a little bit deeper, so we'll fit in over those zones a little bit better. Again, motion Y out. You got the flat as well. You can easily check this down to Stephon Diggs. Flats super good this year, so you want to use those a lot. And this play has 2 stock flats that you can easily take advantage of, especially when you're running PA boot over. You're going to be looking for the deep shot. This is a good play just to keep your opponent on his toes and make sure that he is respecting the flats in his respective defensive scheme. So here you see now I can lowball that post route because he's deeper and the linebackers will not intercept the ball. So overall, solid way to run it. The other way I was talking about would be to streak A. I like to still motion over Cole Beasley, but this just adds a clear out. Again, I'm not sure it makes that big of a difference, but if you want to kind of stretch the seams, you could. And also the last thread of this would be Emmanuel Sanders on the sideline. So he kind of runs a crosser. It's going to be shorter in length, but if you notice for whatever reason he's playing 30-yard curl flats, you could easily do this and take advantage relatively simply. So we got one more setup. This is almost a red zone type setup. Now, again, this setup's not as good because the corner out is still not, the corner out with the tight end's not good. So I'll probably just block A for this, but what you want to do is you're just going to flat Y, you're going to curl B, and you're just going to motion Diggs out, kind of like what we did earlier. But you kind of have to for this one because we do have X on that post route. But just a solid spacing, similar to PA boot over, but you actually get a table route with this combination. So overall, just a different look, but still a very reliable setup. Now the last and final setup is going to be this curl flat corner. Pretty simple play. You got the corner out stock. You want to smart out that. You can go ahead streak X. Not my favorite play in the world, but it is decent. Some ideas I have with this play are to go with something like this. With A is kind of again, in the way in this situation. You could just run it like this. It would be solid, or I could just hitch X from this point, motion him out maybe a step. But there's a couple of ideas. Again, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't really run this play, as I accidentally touch pass it, but I don't really run this play a whole lot. I don't think you need to. Corner routes, they can be good. So depending on what the situation is, I could just run something like this maybe, have success. Of course, I'm probably going to want to roll out to this left side, but you see how corner outs, they can get in pretty good spots. Of course, if you're hitting with crosser after crosser, maybe he throws a hard flat on the right, curl flat on the right as well. And then on the left side, maybe just hard flats or plays like a 10-yard cloud flat. This is an example of where you could actually beat him deep on the left side, whereas you're usually going to be beating him deep on the right. Just a little mix up for your offense. Again, I could also run it like this. This would be an alternative way to run it. where I streak that center guy. This is also better for, you know, coverage beaters if I had to do that. But again, I could just put A on a little dig route. I could put RB on an option. I could just put him on an out route. I could just block him. So it gives you options. And if I really wanted to beat him deep, Stephon Diggs, he could potentially beat him deep there, depending on how out of position he gets. Usually you won't see those outside thirds bite on corner routes though. So overall, that's pretty much going to do it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, give this a big thumbs up. Go ahead, again, subscribe to the channel. It certainly helps me. Follow all of my links. They will be down below in the description. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Definitely trying to grow on there. So if you could, go ahead, lob your boy a follow. But that's going to do it for me. Peace. I'm out of here.